Good morning, Raptor freaks. Alexiot's here on Saturday, and it's Saturday Share the Love Club because it's Saturday and we've had a couple of days off. So on Saturday mornings, sometimes we like to celebrate individuals for contributions to the Raptors world. And well, this morning it's time to celebrate and share the love for Randy Urban. That's right. Randy Urban, of course, famous around Raptors circles for Raptors Tonight, but also, Randy's been calling 905 games recently again, and he did before. I don't know where Ben Schulman is. Maybe he's doing baseball now or something. I don't know where he's gone. But Randy's back doing the 905 games, and I've been really happy about that. We were sad to hear the news last year. Superfan Monique Lawrence went to a game and she saw Randy at the game because she's friends with Randy Urban. And he told her that he had been dismissed from MLSE. And, we were bummed about this. The Raptor Freak family loves Randy Urban because in some ways he's been so funny and interesting as the host of Raptors Tonight for those years when they did that show at Real Sports after all the Raptors games. He'd be sitting in that bar and the fans would be in there too after the game. And he'd be sitting there with Leo and Alvin and Jack Armstrong and Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton and doing the post-game show. And man, that show is awesome. I loved that show. Shere Khan loved that show. We loved that show. Raptor Freaks did. I mean, I went in and sat in on it and appeared on the show once. And I talked to Randy. I went up to Randy. I remember some of the Raptor Freaks from out of town were in town. We went to a game and we hung out after the game at Raptors Tonight. And Randy Urban had a few minutes to talk to me. And he was very encouraging about my project here on this YouTube channel, saying, oh, that's great. That's great that you do that. Maybe you should check out this and this website and see what they're doing at other markets too with a similar kind of channel that you're doing. He was encouraging. And he was telling me to keep going on what I'm doing here on the Raptor Freak channel. So I appreciate Randy for that. Randy, if you watch this, you remember me, man. I was at Real Sports that one night, and you were talking to me. You're probably like, oh yeah, I do remember you. Kind of. No, I don't remember you. But yeah, Randy is a nice guy. Randy is a self-deprecating person that is humble in that way. But this is a pretty good broadcaster. This is a pretty good basketball player too. When he was younger too, I've seen some of the highlights they teased him on for many years on Raptors Tonight and other places, whether it be on Raptors Today with Keel or somebody, and they'd show Randy's little basketball highlights and his heyday, his golden time. It's just good fun stuff, man. And of course, he's always good at putting himself down a little bit just to be funny. Yeah, Randy's humor and deprecating. We know Leo used to always go in on him all the time on the Raptors Tonight show. He would tear Randy down in a quick sentence. It was so good. But yeah, that show was fun, man, because you had fans coming in and taking shots for prizes. You had unexpected guests that would just show up out of the blue, like Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri. And and it was fun to go to the game and go and sit in the background. And I'd be like watching it later and I'd be like, yeah, there I am sitting behind the show. But yeah, man, salute to Randy Urban, man. I think that we need Raptors Tonight back, but I don't think we'll ever get it back. I don't think we will. Because how many years did it run? I think it ran for like 3 or 4 years, or something like that. It was after the championship it started, and it only ran for a little while. And it was tough to run because some of the time they did it was during when they played in Tampa, which was crazy because they would be up in Toronto doing it, and the team would be so far away. They stopped doing it 2 years ago. And I think that it was, right around, kind of Darko came in. I think they did it the last year of Darko coaching, but they didn't do it like this year or last year. And I think it was partly because we were losing a lot And it's just kind of like to do those wrap-up shows on a loss, it's just really dragging out the of like losing a game. I think also they stopped doing Raptors Tonight because Randy's co-hosts didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, seriously, Leo and Alvin and Jack and them, they're probably like, we don't want to hang out for another hour after the game to do this post-game show. In some ways, this is annoying. We'd like to beat traffic. We'd like to get home. We'd like to go to sleep at a decent hour. Because I think that's probably the main reason why, right there. Other than maybe cost cutting, is these guys weren't about like the free food and staying after just to talk about the game. And when the team wasn't as successful, there were way more losses than wins. You know, it's too bad. Randy and his brother have worked for MLSC for a long time and behind the scenes as producers as well as on air for Randy. And when he was let go, it was like kind of these cost-cutting moves, I guess. And he was kind of just a free agent floating around. And I know that Monique had seen him since he was let go and talked to him and caught up with him a little bit to see how he's doing. And well, I mean, I don't understand this. This season on 905, one game all of a sudden Warren Ward was just calling the game by himself. There was nobody there to do the play-by-play. It was very bizarre. Warren Ward, as a former player, we did the Share the Love Club for Warren a couple weeks ago. He was just kind of on an island by himself. He's Tom Hanks with Wilson, just kind of trying to call the game by himself. And it was weird. It was odd. And I had offered my talents to go do the game with them if they couldn't find anyone. It's like, where is Ben Schulman? Where did he go? Like, the son of the Schulman family, the famous broadcasting Canadian family. Where did he go? I don't know where he went. It's weird. I thought maybe he went to go work on Winter Olympics or, like I said, he's going on a baseball assignment because that's more in his family's heritage as broadcasters, right? But yeah, no, he's gone. Well, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? We're going to get somebody new? Well, no, we're going to bring back an oldie. Somebody who did the games years back, and we hadn't seen do the 905 games in a while, Randy Urban. I was so happy when I went to the game that day, and I looked across and I said, oh, Randy's calling the game. This is awesome because he's got a really nice natural feel and charm and way of calling the game. He gets excited. He can be a little goofy. He can make mistakes, but in some ways he's calling it with passion. And he's making it fun. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, him and Warren are a good combination. Those two have worked together in the past, you can tell. And they've got a nice rapport and timing with each other when they call the 905 games. So I've enjoyed the recent weeks of Randy Urban calling 905 once again. It's been fantastic. And I'm glad to see he's back in the fold somewhere in MLSE, doing a job for them, something of somewhere, because the guy is talented. He grew up out here in the Greenbelt near where I live, I guess, somewhere out here. I don't know where, on a horse farm, taking care of horses. And, young Randy, he kind of dreamed of being a zoologist, of taking care of animals and getting into like, vet stuff too. But no, he ended up going to a University of Toronto for broadcasting. And then it led him into a path of MLSE and working for Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So, yeah, salute to Randy Urban, voice of the Raptors 905 right now. And I appreciate him returning into some sort of role on screen or on air because, Raptors Tonight's a legend, seriously. And I'm sure Randy hears this all the time. I know that we've said it to him in the chat on the 905 games. And I know that people have said it to him, probably to his face in public. We miss Raptors Tonight. We miss Raptors Tonight, Randy. And know that you are loved, buddy, because you're one of the good ones. You're one of the guys and one of the gals that covers the Raptors that is popular and people are like, thumbs up. Because there are people that cover the Raptors are thumbs down. Let's just put it that way. So it's just not a given that you're going to be Lex approved or Raptor Freak approved kind of broadcaster for the Raptors. Trust me, there's a list. So yeah, I want y'all to share the love for Randy this morning. Seriously, he deserves it. He's had an up and down kind of couple years, and at this point, he's on his up again because he's back in the saddle, baby, back in that seat next to Warren, calling those 905 games. In fact, they were calling a game last night. It was a joy to watch. Raptors 905 defeating Rio Grande Valley Vipers in the second match of 2 at the Paramount 5 Food Center. I have to make a retraction and correction. I had marked my calendar wrong, saying that the game started at 5 p.m. last night. That was stupid. Why'd you say that, Lex? And I appreciate the superfan Monique Lawrence for calling me out on my error and texting me and say, Lex, why did you say the game's at 5? It's at 7:30. Yeah, I don't know why. There was some number on my calendar that confused me, and because I write on the calendar the games, and then I write the time when the game starts. There was a 5 next to it. I was like, "What is the 5?" Well, it's totally my screw up, and this is me being accountable for my mistakes, and this is me being a role model to show people that when you do make a mistake or you're in the wrong, you need to make it right. And this world needs more of that kind of energy right now. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, y'all love Randy, right? Like me, Randy Urban. Come on now, Randy's awesome. He can dunk. Let's talk about this first real quick. In some ways, this is the share the love club for Randy. But in some ways, the style of Randy is a la Conan O'Brien. And there's a bit of self-deprecation. And in some ways, Randy deserves a roast to a degree also, because this is part of it. I mean, if we had a roast for Randy Urban, I'm sure Leo Routens would be there. Oh, I'm sure he would be there. And he'd have some choice stuff. I'm sure Alvin Williams would be there to be mean to him and yell at him or something like that. Alvin was very mean to Randy sometimes on Raptors Tonight. Very, very mean. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean like that? He'd be that kind of that energy. Oh, that show was so awesome. It's so missed, man. But yeah, I got Randy's team stats from when he played, y'all. From basketball. This is U Sports Hoops profile for Randy Urban in 2003, 2004. He played on Toronto, and they had a 12-24 record, University of Toronto. And then he was on York, it looks like, and they had 11-20. So he had a losing career. Let's just put it that way. It looks like about 23-44 record on here. And Randy played 21 games in the 2003-2004 season. And, he took 14 3-point shots. He made 7 of them. So he's a 50% three-point shooter. That's pretty dang good, man. Pretty dang good. Of course, as Randy joked on the broadcast last night, he was a 30-30 guy. He was a 30-30 guy. 30 seconds left in the game with the 30-point lead in the route is when he's getting in the game. That's what he said. He's a 30-30 guy in the broadcast last night. That was hilarious. Yeah, at least, hey, look, Randy was a 87.5 free throw percent shooter in that season. 14-16 at the free throw line. So a good free throw shooter. And he got about 53 points in the 21 games. So he averaged 2.5 points a game. So yeah, that's Randy Urban on University of Toronto, I guess, in 2003, 2004. If you dig really deep on the internet, really, really deep, real deep, you can find some highlights of him playing basketball somewhere. I didn't dig enough, deep enough. I didn't feel like doing it. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, salute to Randy Urban, an urban legend. Well, a Raptors MLSE legend. That's right. Yeah, Randy, you're awesome, man. Seriously. And thank you for being so kind to me the time that I hung out with you and talked to you at Raptors Tonight. Thank you. It was very, very nice of you. Yeah, Alvin was nice to me too. And it was good talking to Alvin Williams. Maybe a little bit better talking to number 2, second to none, Boogie Williams. But Randy, you were cool to talk to too. Anyway, all right, let's see. Trevor J's words of wisdom. No matter how slow the process is going for you, know you are lapping everyone on the sideline. When you feel frustrated by slow progress, remind yourself that good things take time. Yeah, and this is what I would say to Raptors fans about our team: is good things take time. And, once again, it may seem like stalling out or stagnating or hitting a ceiling or something. That's not what this is. This is just a bit of spinning the wheels in the middle of the whole idea of what do we got to do to be able to close the games out better against tough teams in the NBA. And, this is just a natural process. Once again, we've said this a bunch of times this week for a team that's young and learning how to win further and further in the NBA. All teams get to plateaus or ceilings for a second, and they have to have adversity, not do so well and smooth, and then they smooth it out and they get to the next level after getting through the adversity. This is just like in life in general. You keep plotting away, going through it, and you'll have a breakthrough at some point, right? So this is a similar thing with this. Is the Raptors maybe losing close games in the end of the game now, this part of the season against top teams, but there's going to be a time where they have a breakthrough and it's going to change and they'll start winning these games again. Watch. Yeah. Trevor J has brought up the chain man last night. I almost thought about, and this is no disrespect to Randy Urban, snatching his share of the love club and giving it to this man, Trace Jackson Davis. That's right. Trace Jackson Davis. Well, hello, sir. The 905 are in trouble. David Roddy is a nugget. Julian Reese is a wizard. Olivier Sarr is a cavalier. And then, you got Chucky. Chucky has had a meniscus surgery, and he's getting closer to being fully healed and hopefully coming back by the end of the season. I don't know what the word is on that. I don't know what the expectation is with Chucky, one of our two ways, Chucky Hepburn. And then you got Elijah Martin, who's got a twisted ankle and a busted knee, and he's not running well right now health-wise. So he was in street clothes last night. And then you got AJ Lawson. These are our 3 two-ways that I'm naming right now. AJ Lawson played the first half of the game last night. It was Canada basketball night. And we had a momentous moment in the Vipers versus the Raptors 905 game last night where we had 3 out of the 5 players playing for Raptors 905 Canadian citizens, with AJ Lawson, Tyrese Samuel, and Quincy Guerrier. And that's great to have on a Team Canada basketball night when you have guys that actually have been in the Canadian Olympic program, that have represented Canada. So, yeah, very, very cool stuff like that. But what was my original point? I'm trying to get back to it. But, yeah, the 905 game last night was awesome. And, you're missing a whole bunch of guys, right? You're missing all 3 of your two ways by the end of the game because AJ's out. He can't play the second half, AJ Lawson. And Elijah and Chucky are in street clothes. And those other guys have gone off to greener pastures in the NBA on two ways. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to call TJD. It's an interesting thing. Apparently, Darko went up to Trace after the game in Minnesota. He said, I want you to go to 905 tomorrow and play for Drew Jones in Mississauga. And Trace was like, huh? And he's like, yeah, I think you need more conditioning and we need to get you reps and we need to get you some more time on the court. And Trace was like, all right, coach, I'll go where you tell me to. So Trace went to Mississauga last night. Well, he made an impression. Let's just put it that way. This man did some things in a 905 game as a debut that were phenomenal, amazing, and stupendous. He had his career best professional game in the NBA or the G League last night in Mississauga, TJD. And I'm going to be honest, man, he looked like Shaq out there. He was dominating. This is the thing. If you're going to get to assignment to go to the G League and have to play for the Raptors 905, this is how you do it, players. You go down there and you absolutely dominate and you absolutely kick so much butt that you stick out like a sore thumb that you are like, yeah, he shouldn't be here. And that's what happened for Jackson Davis yesterday. He shouldn't have been down there. In some ways, he was down there for a reason, and it was very helpful. And I think that they got the best out of it for doing it, whether it's getting the conditioning and the time on the court and the reps for Trace, which he utilized very well, or whether it's just helping the 905 get back on the winning side of things after having a 3-game losing streak and losing a whole bunch of their players. You just need somebody else down there because you need bodies. And Mobo didn't go to this game. He wasn't there for this one. They didn't assign Mobo, but they signed Trace. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, Trace said he had a lot of fun playing for the 905 last night, and that he really enjoyed it because why wouldn't it be fun to go down there and just kick a major ass and dunk the ball a lot and get a lot of rebounds and look real good in doing it? You know, his game was reminiscent of Chris Boucher on the 905 level, where, we know our Slim Duck, number 25, a legend in Raptors history. He had a season in G League where he was the G League MVP / G League Defensive Player of the Year because he just dominated that level. And it was apparent that, yeah, Chris is a bit above G League level here because he's averaging 30 points and getting 20 rebounds and 5 blocks, is that kind of stuff. So TJD, he's in that category with Chris because he went down there last night and he showed that he's a level above it. Yeah, he did. And that's a testament for anybody who gets put in that situation like Trace. That's how you handle it, because it's not going to look right if he stays down there much longer. And when he says, I had a great time down here, guys, he means it's a past tense. Yeah. Because, I don't expect Trace to have to play for 905 much after this. If he plays one more game for 905, I could see that. But I don't see him playing much more than that. Really don't. I really, really don't. They do have a game tomorrow. They're going to play the Delaware Bluecoats, but the Raptors are playing tomorrow also. And both teams will be here in the GTA and at home. So there is the possibility of some weird double duty, seeing as the 905 game's at 2 p.m. and the Raptors game against the Mavericks and Cooper Flag is at 6 p.m. So there could be a little bit of a go out there and play for Drew Jones, jump in a car and head down Lakeshore and get to the arena at Scotiabank and play both games tomorrow. That could happen. We'll have to see. But alas, Trace Jackson Davis had his best professional game ever for whatever league, last night for in Mississauga. And it was fantastic. It was fun. It was awesome. We'll go over this game. I got the box score. I got the stars of the game. Of course, Trace is the number 1 star of the game for his contributions and his dominance in that game. It was fun, man. He's really good at telegraphing rebounds and throwing them right back and through the hoop. There was a lot of telegraphing and a lot of dominance. In some ways, he was a bigger, stronger player that nobody on the Vipers could handle and do anything. There were times where he just he looked like an adult playing kids because it's like the ball's loose and he shot a shot. He couldn't make it for that one, but nobody else was good enough to get the ball from him and muscle him or stop him. And so he got another attempt. He didn't make it. He got another attempt. He put it in. It was just like dominance. And the cool thing about what Trace did was he kind of showcased his all-around game. He showed like 4 or 5 skills, really high-level skills, to show that he's not really in a box about who he is. He had amazing passes last night too. And he was so unselfish. I mean, I think that if you're going to do an appearance on the 905, like if you ever have to, this is the way you do it. This is perfect. Because he showed other stuff like, because we've been wondering who he is. We saw his little bit of his debut in the Raptors and that amazing first game he had with a double-double. But we've been wondering who he is because we've not seen a lot of minutes for him so far since he got to us from the Warriors. And, he showed it more in this 905 game last night. And I would tell people, if you don't watch 905, what are you doing with your life, first of all? And second of all, you can go back and watch the highlights of him on YouTube from last night, and you should, because there's stuff you need to see in it. Like there's the passing ability. He had some crazy thread the needle passes and really smart passes, unselfish passes to cutters that really set up. The other thing he was doing really well was he was passing out of the post to 3-point shooters in a really nice rhythm. Like I could tell he's a very thoughtful passer because he's throwing the ball to guys like Tyreek Key in a way that they can't fuck up the shot. I call it the silver platter, right? I've called it that in the past. It's like you can pass it to someone if you just nonchalantly pass it. You don't think about the energy. You don't think about the spin you're putting in the ball. You could fuck up the guy who's getting the ball and they won't catch it right. This is why the ball goes flying off people's fingers like this, or like it goes over their heads. You can be irresponsible with passing, but the really, really great ones, they give it to their teammate on a silver platter. And this was Magic Johnson's philosophy is like, you're not a good point guard just for passing. You have to be a good point guard where you pass the ball to your teammate and you put them in the most conducive, positive possible place that they will be able to execute and convert the basket where you're putting them at. So it's like, it really is like tailoring each individual person you play with to their proclivities and their likes. It's like, oh yeah, Emmanuel's thinking, okay, that's RJ. I know what he likes. I played for 6 years with him. And I know where he likes to have the ball. I know where he likes to be. And I know how to handle the pass to him so that when he catches the ball, he has the highest percentage chance of catching it smoothly and going right into a shooting motion and hitting it and being successful. That's like higher level passing. And this is something Shed needs to work on, is understanding silver platter and understanding that, you can put so much energy in the ball as the assist guy, as the passer, to make your teammate who's getting the receiving of the pass to be the most successful they can. You can see idiots that just kind of, and then it goes, and it's out of bounds. It's a turnover. There's a difference here. And Trace last night on 905 was showing silver platter passing as a big. He set up Tyreek Key so well. He knew how to get Tyreek Key the ball in rhythm that Tyreek was bombing threes and nailing them. In some ways, look, the shooting percentage of some of the three-point shooters on the Raptors could be better if we were doing better silver platter. Grady probably could shoot better if we would get the ball to him correctly in some ways, some of it too. You know what I'm saying? So I like that kind of energy around assist makers or playmakers, is when they do even more as the passer to really set up the shooter to be ultimate success. And there's so much more they can do to help them that is underlined that people don't realize. It's whether it's like the spin on the ball, the way that the ball has energy in it. You put energy into this world. I put energy out with my mouth. You put energy through the basketball when you pass it to somebody, and that ball can be different and wonky. And you can put good energy into the ball where the kinetics of the ball work on your side, and all of a sudden you're making Kawhi Leonard shot at Game 7, beating the Philadelphia 76ers. So, there's a real physics, there's a real science to this. In some ways, you can ask a billiards player, someone who hits the little cue on the white ball to hit the other balls into the holes on a pool table. You can ask them about English. You can ask them about spin and how you can manipulate the shots that you hit the balls with to get the angles and the shots and the curves that you want. You can do all that in passing and basketball too. That's why these amazing bounce passes or between the leg passes, no look passes, all these kind of different passes you can do in basketball, the really great ones can get on the higher level and do that kind of curve bounce pass through the legs this way, Scotty no look. That's all part of it, man. It's all a part of it. And Trace sets them up. So obviously the man's got rebound. This guy's rebounds per minute is insane. Trace. He's obviously got some shot blocking too, because he's a very big, tall guy with the long arms. He's got lob threat, like we saw in the game last night. It wasn't really lobs. It was more, I'm coming to get the offensive board without going down on the ground, and I'm throwing it back in. And it was timing. It was basically, I'm running towards the basket. My teammate just missed it, and I'm going to grab the ball in one swooping motion, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to throw it right back into the hoop. Yeah, there was at least 3 or 4 of those last night that were just what I just said. And then you got the whole other dimension of the screen setting that he does. That, he, in some ways, he's a straw that stirs the drink. He can do some of that Pirtle work where he can slough off defenders to get guys like Jarkel Joyner a more clear path to drive and shoot. So, a lot of benefits to Trace Jackson Davis. And, the performance that he did last night means he should be getting rotation minutes for the Raptors, because the secret's out. And if it was that, because what Trace said after the game is, even on the Warriors this year, He hadn't played a whole lot this year. He's not rotation on the Warriors before he came to us. He was in and out and really erratic with his playing time. And in some ways, I think this is the answer to the question y'all been asking me for like a couple weeks now. Why isn't Trace playing? I think it was conditioning because Darko said it's like I just want him to get his conditioning up and be more with his breath because he hasn't had to play a whole lot this year, whether it was on the Warriors or for us so far. So I think that, well, if we look at Trace's box score and we think about what he did, let's do that real quick as the number one star. He played 30 minutes last night. He got 32 points. So he outscored his minutes, which is always something Lex likes. He got 11 of 17 from the field, which is phenomenal. He made all 6 of his free throws. Perfect. 11 rebounds. So it's a double double, 32 and 11. 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, a +8. 4 stocks, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 4 assists with 2 turnovers, and 11 rebounds. Yeah. I mean, I would say this. It's like, look, this performance and his ability to get up and down the court, you got to reward him, Darko, because you put him on assignment and he passed the assignment. He got A plus 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 plus. It's like he put the assignment back in. You're grading him, Professor. A plus 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 for the assignment at 9:05 last night. And I think you need to reward him for the for the output and what he did last night with a rotation stint or some work with the Raptors on the big club. I think you've got to. I think you just have to. It's mandatory, man, because this dude was a monster last night. And that's why I'm taking so long to talk about him right now, because he was like that. Seriously. It was like a man among boys last night. Trust me. Watching TJD put on a show. That's right. That's right. Trevor Jason with double double. That's right. Double double. Double double. Double treble. Yeah. Yeah, that crazy noise effect game. All right, Isaac Campbell's in here. The benevolent one, Isaac Campbell. Thank you for supporting this channel. And I only wish benevolence and goodness to you, sir. Shout out to point guard Randy. In a city and country whose media landscape is often dominated by hockey talk, it's refreshing to have a real one in your corner. Another reason we want to see the 905 to win. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, Randy's awesome, man. Randy's just a personable person. He's been around the Raptors for a long time. It's not like he's a rookie. He's been working around the Raptors for, I don't know, like over a decade, longer than that, maybe. Because, a lot of what Randy was doing in the past, some of it was behind the scenes, producer kind of work. And it wasn't always on in front of the camera, But, man, I'm just glad there's a spot for him right now and that he's getting to call the 905 games right now because he has a history of doing it. There is a nostalgia to hearing Randy Urban call Raptors 905. If you're, a longtime Raptors 905 watcher, there is a nostalgia there. That's right. Stargate is here. Good morning to Stargate. I want to see what he's saying. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. At Lex, I made that comment yesterday about not panicking, and the treats is based learning based on a previous comment I saw from another individual before mine. It's all right. I mean, I like corrections, but it's not necessary in this moment. I gave bad information yesterday about when the game started, so I had to come back and retract that and say this is where I messed up. The game wasn't at 5; it was at 7:30. I was actually going to go to it because I thought it was at 5. I was like, man, I could go to this game if the game's at 5. I just don't want to go to a later game and get back at like 1 a.m. I was like, I could go at 5, and I was getting it already. And I was even talking to Adriana, and she was like going to look at the tickets, and she's like, the game's not at 5, it's at 7:30. Why are you telling everybody the game's at 5? What? Oh man, I messed up. My calendar was wrong. So we didn't go to the game, but I thought about going to the game at the last second yesterday. But then I realized it's Friday night and it's traffic in Toronto. I don't need to be anywhere near the 401 around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, evening. No. So I almost went to the game yesterday, the 905 game. I almost did. Yeah. I remember your comment, and I don't even remember what my response was. I was thinking, it's like, nah, nobody needs to panic. We're okay. It's okay. That's why we don't do crosstalk, Stargate. Exactly what you're saying here is because I go all over the place and you guys talking to each other in the comments won't make any sense if I go off on a detour and talk about something else for 15 minutes. Then I come back and you have a comment response to somebody from earlier. This is why we don't do crosstalk because the comments won't make no sense. In some ways, this conversation should be me with all of y'all and y'all shooting stuff at me. This is the biggest problem with Jillian when she come in here because you guys can be friends and talk to each other. But I would say this: talk to each other in the Discord together or on your social media or whatever way you want to. But when we're here and I'm live, it should be. I hate to say it, and I don't want me like it should be centric around me since I'm the one who's talking. And that this is part of the reason why discussions between you guys in the comments don't work on the format of this channel because it just doesn't. It just doesn't. Trevor's saying this: New York beat the Nuggets last night. I hate that. I hate that, man. Come on, Nuggets. Y'all could beat us without Jokic. Beat the Knicks. Come on now. And what the hell? The Philadelphia 76ers coming back and winning their game the other night against Utah. This is bullshit, man. We want these teams to lose. We need them to lose. We're only one game above the Sixers right now. But they have the Kirk Goldsberry efficiency landscape out. And man, the Sixers, if they're trying to catch up with the Raptors, they're in the land of tanking on the efficiency landscape by Kirk's Goldberry. They're down there with Indiana and Washington and Dallas and Portland. So their metrics are not good or conducive to say that the Philadelphia 76ers and Nick Nurse are coming to get us because their efficiency is horrible right now. So in some ways, forgive me for not being afraid of the Philadelphia 76ers. I am afraid of the Charlotte Hornets, though. I will say that. And in hindsight, the way the Hornets have been playing lately, I think in some ways, even though we were pissed off earlier this season that we're losing games to the Hornets, the fact that the Raptors split the season series 2-2 with the Charlotte Hornets is actually a real accomplishment in hindsight, isn't it, y'all? Yeah. Because they're starting to say with Con Knipple and them that the Boston Celtics and them are mirroring each other and that the Charlotte Hornets are like a younger version of the Celtics. That's what they're starting to say right now. I mean, it kind of makes sense considering Charles Lee was an assistant coach on the Celtics with Joe Mazzulla before he took the job with Charlotte. That that the Hornets are looking like that. But yeah, in hindsight, let's think about this. We play the Hornets. We think about the Hornets in the way we've historically always thought about them. And we beat them the first game we play them this season. Then we lose 2 games to them, including one that was convoluted with Mark Davis that went to overtime, and we just barely lost it. And everybody fell out at that time. Remember? Everybody fell out. We lost to the Hornets. What the hell? Well, let's look at the track record of the Hornets this season and listen to what Lex said after that game. The Hornets aren't the same team. That's what I said. The Hornets are not the same Hornets that y'all have seen for years now and just take as a lowly team to kick around. This is a team that's rebuilding and progressing like us. And in some ways, in hindsight, splitting the season series with Charlotte is actually an accomplishment this year, considering how they're kicking everybody's ass at this point in the season, right? It's kind of funny how time can change things and how you think about it and you look at back at it. Because I'm looking at this efficiency landscape and the Hornets are they're the number 2 net team right now behind the Spurs as far as number 1 in offense and number 5 in defense in the NBA right now. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Hindsight's 2020, and sometimes your perspective after a little bit of time will tell you the truth about the situation instead of your gut reaction at the time because you think it's this way. No. You have misjudged the Charlotte Hornets this year, NBA fans. You have misjudged them, and they're showing who they are now. That's right. They're showing who they are. That's right. Fiercey's here. Good morning to MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. I like Raptors tonight. Getting interesting and honest takes from the panel. Yeah, I miss it. Because these guys these are the people that should be teaching people basketball. I'm like maybe an intermediary, somebody who should be teaching y'all basketball. But Jack Armstrong, Leo Routens, Alvin Williams, Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, these are the best teachers of basketball for Canada because they're the ones in the prominent positions and they're the ones that know what they're talking about to the fullest extent of experience themselves and their professional careers, and just knowing the Raptors brand and watching the team and covering the team for a long time. Leo Routens, Jack Armstrong, Alvin Williams. The man played for the team. So, I love that. Any forum for them to get more out there to talk to Raptors Nation and inform them and teach them what the team's doing so they can be more informed and not so nephew-ish. That is always a good thing. And that's why that forum, it kind of sucks that it's gone, because we need more information and education for Raptors Nation so that they can be more informed and not so stupid on some of their takes and what they look at and see. You get Jack Armstrong behind a microphone, he can clear up some shit real quick and just say, well, the Raptors, blah, blah, blah. He can say some stuff on Raptors Tonight. And everybody's like, oh, okay. All right. Why did this happen in this game? Or something, And then Randy puts the panel of the question, And that was very helpful and educational. And I miss that aspect of it, because in some ways you want people to be smarter, right? Some people don't want people to be smarter, taking away education funding and cutting schooling and stuff like that. But no, it's better to have people more educated so that they're not talking out of their ass, especially in this social media world and fakery world of AI we're going into. We need people to be educated so they're not so easily fooled, right? And well, with basketball, that's true too. You can have a lot of casual takes that are fucked up and just nephew-ish. And Raptors Tonight was a weapon against that. It was it's informative and teaching. That's right. Stargate saying the person said Darko needs to get it together. And the way this team is going, they are in danger of dropping to the play-in, much less not making the playoffs, which is some chicken little BS. So this is what you were responding to yesterday when you said panicking. Okay, this makes more sense now. So they retracted their message before I got to it. So the context of what you said didn't make any sense because their message was gone. I have heard this a bit. There has been some chicken littling. You're right. There has been. I think that in some ways it's just that people see the close proximity of the play-in to where we are right now, and they just get worried. They get scared. There's a Raptors Redditor, Munir, once again, who posted something, and I want to talk about. First of all, my Raptors Redditor of the day is Toronto Rapture, and it's a kind of goofy name, but he has a picture of Shamshay at the 905 game again last night, guys. Aldous Shamshay sitting in the crowd watching 905 once again, I believe. So he's still around, and he's still something's going on, man. They need to clear him and just let him come and take that last roster spot. They just need to do this, seriously. But yeah, Munir had a post on Raptors Reddit yesterday, and this is a very interesting post I want to talk about real quick. He has 20 games left. He has the rest of the schedule for the Raptors, and it breaks down like this. Out of the 20 games left, the Raptors starting tomorrow with Dallas, 6 playoff teams we play out of the 20. 6 play-in teams we play, and 8 bad teams. So that's 12 teams that are either in the play-in or the playoffs, and then 8 teams that are out. So if we think about the numbers with where we need to be with our win total at the end of the season to be avoiding the play-in and stuff like that, we need to get all 8 of those bad teams, right? So that would put us somewhere around, we're at 35 right now. So they put us at 43. And if we can snatch half of the play-in team games, that would put us at another 3 games, and that would put us at 46. And if we, fuck around and mess around, and maybe we steal some games against the playoff team and get like maybe 2 of them, that puts us around 48. And 50 is plausible if you really think on it, if we really go above and beyond and overachieve. Now, if we get to 48 wins, I think that puts us out of the play-in, because that's historically what has happened the last couple of years. So there's, the really tough part of our season has been partly what we're going through right now. There's been a very tough part of our season, and the recency bias of feeling the feelings of what the team's going through right now is making things feel darker and scared and more chicken little-ish. And I think that's what this is. And I'm totally with Stargate on this. I'm not panicking. I'm not worried about this. Like I said, there's enough room between us and the Florida teams and Atlanta and Charlotte that we can hold them off. Now, if one of these teams like Philadelphia falls out of the 6th spot and they go into the play-in, because we have some buffering between us and the play-in. whether it is an extra spot between us. The Sixers are much more likely to drop into the play-in than we are because of their issues with injuries and different things. So, if there's a surge up by the Charlotte Hornets out of the play-in to get in the playoffs, they're going to probably take the Sixers spot. I don't see those other teams going crazy enough to be able to rev themselves right out of the play-in. Orlando, Miami, Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta has a history of 500 basketball. It's crazy how their record just hovers around 500 over time periods, all kinds of crazy ways. There's crazy stats that show Atlanta Hawks are really the most mediocre team in the history of the NBA in a lot of ways because they have so many like even records for like so many different time periods. It's crazy. They show the stats and I'm like, whoa, there is something weird about the Hawks. And Miami and Orlando, Miami's a weird team. If they get a little bit more healthy, they can be dangerous. Tyler Hero and different weapons. Orlando's just a weird, like, underachieving team. In some ways, they talk about the rise of Orlando over and over again when they should have been given that. They can go and push and talk about Orlando this, Orlando that, but that's just because they have a bias for Banchero. And honestly, he's not coming through. He's not getting better. He's not doing better and better like Scotty is. And the Orlando energy that people have hyped them up about in the last off season, saying Orlando is going to be so much better this year. They should have been saying that about us, the Raptors, instead of Orlando. So Orlando is kind of a weird team that I don't really respect as far as like them trying to come and guess. I really don't. So yeah, 6 playoff teams, 6 play-in teams, 8 bad teams. Do the math. We'll figure this out in the 20 games that are left and see how many we can get and how close we can get to 50 wins. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how close we can get to 50 wins. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying this, but man, was I salivating at the food. Made me want to try real sports, which I did when I came with Fiercey Jr. in December 2022. Yeah, the food was tempting and it was very effective. Very effective, but it was a gross amount of food. They bring out like it was a feast. They just lay out like 5 huge platters, like for multiple people, for like each person. So it's like, how many people are you feeding real sports here? You feeding the 4 or 5 people on the panel? Or are you fucking feeding the whole lower floor of real sports? Because there's so much food there. And I used to get all kinds of like worried about it. I would always be like, man, I hope they're not wasting all that food. I would always be worried about that. It's like, man, they're not going to eat all that, are they? Somebody needs to eat that food. We don't need that food to go waste because, it's expensive and I hate food waste. So there was always that kind of worry with me when I'm watching Raptors Tonight. It's like, man, what happens with the food? I hope they go around to all the people that are still in the bar and say, hey, you want some of these cheese sticks? You want some of these wings? Some of this pizza? It was always awkward on that show seeing the people on the show try and talk while they're eating. This is once again, this is something I joke about ever since the Caribbean night where Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin were eating doubles while they were calling the Raptors game at the same time and talking with their mouth full on the microphone. Yeah, in some ways that would happen on this show sometimes too. Jack Armstrong would be mowing down and all of a sudden he's got to stop chewing before he can talk. It's like that kind of stuff. Some of the panel would eat and some of them never ever ate. They never ate. You could watch it and certain individuals that were there would just sit there and look at the food and they would never touch it. And meanwhile, Leo's digging in, man. Leo's like eating at Raptors Tonight like he hadn't ate all day. He's like, oh yeah, give me this here, Randy. He's like, it was the best, man. Yeah. Oh, we love Raptors Tonight. You can see how much we loved it. Look at how we're reminiscing and talking about it today. Look at the food she's got there. Tacos and burgers and salads and chicken wings. Yeah, that's about right, Fiercey. That's about right there. Yeah. 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 Stargate saying really not becoming of a Raptor freak. Well, listen, different people can have different fears. And in some ways, we're going to have to assuage those fears. That's part of what we do here. We got to understand also, Stargate, not all of us are, longtime members and people that have been around the channel a lot. We do have new blood that comes in here and they're going to be themselves. And I have to allow people to be themselves. and just react to them. That's what this channel is. And sometimes I've gotten better over the years at reacting with more tact. In the past, you can watch earlier episodes of Raptor Freak, and he's going off on the stupidest shit and getting all pissed off and really dumb. It's been a journey for me personally as a person with my personality and trying to be a more accepting person and having more tact. So, I don't mind this because in some ways we need this kind of energy around so that we can talk about it because it's a natural energy right now that people would be worried about the Raptors falling out of the playoffs into the play-in. That's a natural energy, and we should address it on this channel because it is an issue or it is something that's a concern for Raptors Nation. And that's what we do here. That's what we do. We cover Raptors issues and things. And well, this is something that people are worried about. We can at least come at it in an educated way and try and give answers to people that maybe help them feel better. I don't know. We'll have to see how we do. And the more we go through the season and I react to it, the more we'll be able to talk about this in a clear way because it's all happened. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Jimmy Pope is here. The Pope of Positivity. Good morning to you, sir. Buddy, we're 1.5 games back of the play-in. It's an actual thing. No, I know. Listen, bro. Does the tightrope walker know the danger below them in the circus? Yeah, we know the danger. You could stay up on that wire and not have to worry about it at all. Or you could fall down at Cirque du Soleil and hit the net. Yeah, I mean, listen, the danger's there. Ooh, you trying to scare me, Jimmy? That's what we're trying to talk about here today. Is that there's no reason. There's a Blue Jay on my feeder all of a sudden. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's go, spring training, Blue Jays. No, see, we don't want a fear monger like this. Whoa, we're 1.5 games. Whoa, it's not back. We're 1.5 games ahead. They're back of us. No, that you keep using the wrong word here. We're 1.5 games back of the plan. That's not the direction we're trying to go in. And even in your wording, it's negative to say we're back of the plan. No, we're not trying to go towards the plan. We're trying to go away from the play-in. We're 1.5 games ahead of the play-in. We're not 1.5 games back of the play-in. That would mean we're in the playoff, out of the playoffs, underneath it, down there with Washington and those teams down there. No, even your wording's given away, Jimmy. This is not the Pope of Positivity. I know. This is the night of negativity. This is not the Pope of Positivity. This is the night of negativity. No, we don't want the night of negativity. Slay your dragons, Jimmy. Slay your dragons. So, this is all in jest and fun. Isaac's saying this. I remember when Alvin Williams first came on Raptors Tonight. Randy waited for him to have his mouth full of food before he read my comment. Alvin is awesome. Alvin nearly choked. Yeah, see, shit like that would be happening. And there were some pranksters. There's a little bit of pranking around on that show. I liked how Alvin would always play like the heavy. He was kind of the jerk on that show. He could get away with it because he's so beloved in Raptors history as a player. He could be on the show and be an asshole to the other people on the show. And it was partly a gimmick, honestly, because Alvin Williams not that much of a jerk in real life. But they're playing it up on the show for dynamic. And Randy's the whipping boy. He's the guy who's getting all the crap. And, Randy, yeah, well, whatever did you do in your basketball career? It's like, okay, Randy, like, what you're talking about. That's what Alvin would say to him, stuff like that. Let the professionals do you're just the host kind of energy. Alvin could be very mean to Randy. And it was entertaining. It was fun. And I know that Alvin was all doing it in good jest, and that's not really who Alvin Williams is. He was doing it just to be fun. A little bit of weird bullying towards Randy Urban. I think that they talked about it. They organized it before. It's like, all right, and Alvin, you're going to put me down at one point. Okay, yeah, Randy, I love doing that. I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'll put you down a little bit during this show. It'll be fun. And Randy maybe is getting him back by, hey, Alvin, what do you think about the game tonight? Oh, God. Speaking of buffalo wings, y'all, straight goods on Canadian goods. Schneider's buttery buffalo wings. Whoa, yeah. I ate these yesterday. And, man, they were buttery and buffalo. And I'm telling you, Schneider's is a good Canadian company. You can get the little meat sticks from Schneider's, but you can also get some like this, buffalo wings for your freezer. And you can cook them up real nice. You get that wing fun. Yeah, so Schneider's buttery buffalo wings, Canadian. They're classic buffalo wings, lively flavors, all in perfect balance. Vinegary, hot sauce for bites. Salt just for just a little pucker, a dash of sweetness, and a smooth, buttery coating, bringing it all together. You have everything you need to bring home pub night at your house with buttery Schneider's buffalo wings. Just in honor of Raptors tonight there, we had to put some buffalo wings on blast. Some Canadian buffalo wings. That's right. That's right. Canadian buffalo wings. Jimmy's saying ahead, ahead, ahead. Okay, Trevor's saying no one can stop TJD last night. He was too much to handle. All right, let's get back on the 9:05 game since Trevor has drawn me back to it. My second star of the game last night was Tyson Degenhart. You know, Tyson Degenhart was the bookends of the game last night. At the very beginning of the game, he was one of these guys who got an assist off of Trace Jackson Davis to make a three. And he got it really nicely passed to him, and he easy shot. He made it in rhythm, nice, easy, go right into his motion and put it in. And that really helped Tyson get going for the game. You know, he's not shot well from three in recent months as much as he did at the beginning of the season. And well, he did last night. And the other thing was Tyson got the start because Elijah was out and we're missing guys. These guys are getting more opportunities to try and get starts. Well, Tyson, 33 minutes, 16 points on 6 of 11 shooting, 4 of 7 from three, which these were really key threes. The first two that he hit were in the first quarter, right near the beginning of the game, and helped the Raptors 905 jump out to a big lead on Rio Grande to start the game. And then later in the fourth quarter, Tyson circled back and made another three late that was absolutely a separator when they were very close and tied in the fourth quarter. And that's really, this was one of those 905 games that was just really dramatic, nail biter, and close. And it's getting down to the wire, and the game's very tied and going back and forth. And then the Raptors 905 just execute and do better and do the right things to get the win to their side and win by 8 points. So, yeah, the opposite of what happened in the game, the first game against Rio Grande. So it's awesome. And it's a testament to Drew Jones's culture and the team that he's running out there, that it transfers with so many changes in personnel as far as different people coming and going, whether they're leaving or they're just showing up brand new and they barely played with the team, like Trace Jackson Davis and Caleb Stone Carwell. So, yeah, it's a really good game by Tyson, hitting threes at key spots. He has 4 rebounds also and 2 blocks. That's the crazy thing, too. This man's out there getting blocks. So, +9 for Tyson Degenhart, my second star of the game in the Raptors 905 victory last night. Tyreke Key is my third star of the game. He got a start also, and he was the other guy hitting and bombing some good threes there. 33 minutes for Tyreke. 23 points, 6 of 12 shooting. It's much better to see Tyreke hitting his shots again because he missed a lot of shots in the last month, and he's more on track again. 3 for 6 from three. Maybe it was the great passes from Trace. I don't know. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, a +1. Yeah, when he misses a free throw, it's weird. I'm like, Tyreke, you're such a good shooter. Missing a free throw don't look right when you miss a free throw. I think he hit it almost, and it did a little like come up at the last second and fell out kind of thing. It was the right kind of shot. It should have went in, but he just barely missed it. Yeah, my fourth star of the game is Tyrese Samuel, Canadian from Quebec. Tyrese Samuel, the Vancouver Bandit of CBL, 15 minutes, 13 points on a perfect 6 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, a -5. People in the 905 chat were talking about, we've been watching Tyrese for a while, and we've been wanting him around our team. And I agree. I've watched him too for a while, whether it was in CBL or even in the G League a little bit. Having him on the Raptors 905 has been fantastic. And we did trade a first-round pick to the Valley Suns in the G League draft, not an NBA first-round pick, a G League first-round pick to get Tyrese Samuel. And he's very worth it. He's a very strong player. He has very good positioning defensively, and he's a shot blocking threat, and he's a very strong rebounder. I would just say, Tyrese, make sure you're grabbing the ball with 2 hands. No lazy one-handed rebounding. Get that ball with 2 hands and bring it down is what I'm saying right there. But the Canadian content is at an all-time high right now on Raptors 905 with Tyrese Samuel showing up. And I dig it. The Quebec Twin Towers of Guerrier and Samuel are a fun combo to see out on the court right now, and they're making up for Roddy and Sarr's exit. That's right. We need guys to be there just in case. My last star of the game for the 905 game last night is Caleb Stone Carrawell. And he's been a bright addition all of a sudden. It's like, they interviewed him after the game, and he said, I've had so much adversity in my professional basketball career. I feel so blessed to be here in Mississauga playing for the 905. I was at my home in the gym working out, just waiting for the call. And the 905 called me and they brought me up here. He wasn't anywhere. And he came straight to us just to help. And he had a couple mistakes, but he's got some skill on offense. There was some things he did last night on the court that I was like, wow, that's skilled offensive stuff. He can hit some open threes. He has a bit of a mid-range game. That's the skill that I saw. But there are some things like some miscommunications. His ball handling is not that great. But for most part, he's been very helpful to the team so far since he showed up. And that's the thing. He showed up and he's getting thrown in the fire and he's trying to learn it all really fast. So there will be some turnovers and mistakes. 16 minutes for Caleb, 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, a plus 11 for Caleb Stone Carrawell. And Randy Urban has given him a new moniker. That's right. He is going to be Stone Cold Carrawell. That's what he wants to call him. And I think it sticks. I think it works. It's just that he's not going to be a player of notoriety, and it won't get out to the whole Raptors nation. But if you guys see Caleb Stone Carrawell, that's Stone Cold Carrawell. That's right. Yeah, you're damn right. Don't trust anyone. Yeah. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold Carrawell said so. That's how nicknames are born. And Randy Urban borned that one during the broadcast last night. I was like, ooh, that's a good one. Stone Cold Carrawell. I like that. Of course, I was a big Steve Austin fan when in the WWF Attitude Era. That's right. I was a big Stone Cold fan. All right, let's keep going with honorable mention. We'll go ahead and give an honorable mention to AJ Hogarth, who got almost a double-double. He just missed out on 1 assist of a double-double. 28 minutes for AJ Hogarth, 16 points on 5 of 12 shooting. He had 3 threes that were really helpful to the team, 3 of 5, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 turnovers, 3 steals, 3 blocks, a plus 13. Yeah, he's a very active, useful player for 905 right now. He is a great paint toucher as far as going into inside and getting a paint touch and either put it in the basket himself or getting a really good kick out to somebody who's wide open because he's drawing the defense inside. And he's super skilled. His touch is really good. Like AJ Hogarth has a really good shooting touch, and he can shoot these little floaters in the lane area, and the ball bounced like a Kawhi shot again, like boom, 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 and then it fell through. And it's like that's really good shooting touch. So yeah, AJ Hogarth, keep going, man. I would have given you a full star, except you have too many turnovers and you didn't shoot as well as you could have. So yeah, let's see. Who else do I have to do? Jarkel Joyner was driving Monique nuts in the chat last night. She's saying, I don't like what Joyner's doing out there. I think that it's kind of because Joyner was reverting to that JFL Kennedy Chandler kind of mode a little bit. Yeah, he was kind of going on his own scripts and kind of being a more aggressive, a selfish scorer, which is kind of his natural way of playing. He's conformed a lot this season to playing more a team-oriented game in the Raptors 905 system than the way he played for College Park Skyhawks in the past. He really was like, this is our dude. Give him the ball. Let him score as much as possible before in his G League career and before this year playing for us. So it's a natural proclivity for Jarkel to do this, to be JFL, Javon Freeman Liberty, and just go off like that. Well, if he's not making the shot, he's missing, or he's turning over the ball, he's going to get Monique Lawrence's ire. And she's going to be like, I don't like what Jarkel's doing. And there was a bit of that last night with him. Not the turnovers, but the missing shots and maybe calling his number in situations where he shouldn't have. 33 minutes for Jarkel, 11 points on 3 of 10 shooting. Missed both his threes. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals, a plus 10. Still very solid contributions with a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio and 3 steals. So Jarkel's out there contributing and he's giving good stuff, but in some ways it's not the scoring that he used to contribute for College Park. AJ Lawson did get hurt in the first half of the game and did not return in the second half. So he only got 17 minutes, 5 points on 1 of 5 shooting. He was 0 for 4 from 3. He was not having a good game up until that point anyway. 1 for 1 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -10 for AJ, and only 1/2 of play. Off the bench, Tyler Perry got some time. And it was cool, in this whole period of flux with the 905, with so many new players coming in and so many players leaving. Tyler Perry, Quincy Guerrier, and Tyreek Key are nice, solid bench, rock solid people from last year's team, because all 3 of them were on the Raptors 905 last year, playing for Coach Andrew Jones. And it was helpful to have them for consistency going through this tumultuous period where Caleb Stone Carwell and Trace Jackson Davis and Markelle Fultz are showing up. And, you need some stability from the past and the things that you've foundation-wise. That is in some ways part of the underlying reason why Andrew Jones can hold up his culture and his standard of play and the way he expects things for the 905 to do things, even with a changing cast of characters. You got Quincy, Tyreek, and Tyler Perry, who all 3 of them played on this team last year. And I should include AJ Lawson too, because he was on this team last year too. So yeah, but Tyler came out. He didn't score. He took 3 threes and missed all 3 of them. 10 minutes, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a +1. Timbit's going to do what he does. And in some ways, it's just like, give us some solid minutes. Don't screw up, and just kind of be solid and knowing the system and doing your role and do what you need to do. Tyler Perry, salute to you, man. 2-year Raptors 905. Quincy Guerrier had a quiet night, but he was out there battling and playing strong as far as like battling for rebounds and just being out there. But he wasn't as a focal point. 26 minutes for Big Q, 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting. He made a 3. That's what he got his 3 points on. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, a +2 for him. Yeah, so that's the box score for the 10 Raptors 905 that played. On the other side, I want to make a note of Tristan Newton, 29 points with 8 rebounds and 4 assists and 4 turnovers. Yeah, the Grand Rapids Valley Vipers are a physical team, a rotund team, and also a slow team. And they're also kind of not really a good shooting team. So I was disappointed we lost to them by 2 the first game. We shouldn't have lost to them. We should have beat them both games. Thank goodness we took care of business last night, though, and got the win. Team stats, real quick. We shot 51%. They shot 49%. We made 12 threes. They made 8 threes. We got 87% at the free throw line, missed 3 free throws. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. They did out-rebound us, 44-37. But that's partly maybe because, I don't know, for some reason they were getting on offensive boards. Assist to turnover ratio, we did 28-16, so almost a 2-1, and they were 31-20. So pretty similar with their assist to turnover ratio. They beat us in the points in the paint, 70-56. But yeah, great job by Raptors 905. The culture sticks, and Drew Jones needs a lot of credit for the win last night. I'm just happy they got back on the winning side of the column, because they lost 3 games in a row before this. And, with the Raptors losing also, it was dark, and we needed a W. And we got one last night, thanks to them. That's right. We got one last night. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Fiercely saying this. Jimmy, Pope of Positivity, let's not panic. We still have time, but I agree. They need to get back to how they balled earlier in the season. No, they don't. They need to go forward. They're not the same team they were earlier in the season, and neither are any of the other teams in the league. That's part of the difference between right now and the beginning of the season. The other teams in the league weren't doing certain things to go on the home stretch like they are now. So this league just gets harder as the season goes on. And that's part of the reason why when you're playing top 3 teams in the East and the West, it's hard to beat them. It's the Knicks, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Timberwolves. These are top teams in the league. And playing a whole bunch of them in a row will make you feel like your team is bad and get you panicking a little bit. But we got to understand, don't overreact, and understand, have confidence and stay the course. And we just take each game one by one. And Dallas Mavericks tomorrow is a very winnable game in Toronto. In fact, we need to win this game tomorrow against the Dallas Mavericks in Toronto, because in some ways we need it for the win. We need it for the home win. And we need it because this is a team out of the playoffs, and consistently we have beaten teams out of the playoffs this year. So that's the thing. And we owe them too, because they stole one from us to be in the year that we shouldn't have lost to them when we went to Dallas in like the third game of the season. We shouldn't have lost to them, seriously. So yeah, Stargate saying they are getting it together. This is how a rebuilding team who is basically playing their first year together gets it together. This is the game of basketball. It's a process. It's stages. Yeah, yeah. No lies there. No lies there. And once again, we're going to succeed and fail at different rates. And right now, we're failing a little bit more than succeeding in the current place where we're at. But that doesn't mean that that's where we are forever, guys. That's the one thing we got to remember. It's like we can't take a snapshot of one single game and outcome and say this is who we are and this is set in stone. That don't make no sense. We're a constantly evolving organization that has all kinds of different things in flux and going all the time. And, different things change and different things happen. Colin Murray-Boyles comes back. Jakob starts feeling more and more like his normal self. RJ's feeling more and more in his conditioning. There's a lot of different things that can shift and change in the positive or the negative in different ways. And we just got to hope that good things are happening for the Raptors and they continue to happen for the Raptors. That's what I say right there. That's right. Fiercely saying, even as a play-in team, we beat the odds. As experts said, we would not even make it, but I'm confident we will be in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't want to be in the play-in team. I agree with what you're saying, that the way that people were projecting us for this year, we're way better than what they said. Any of the experts, whether it's Bleacher Report, ESPN, The Ringer, TSN, Sportsnet, anybody who said anything about predicting the Raptors season, they've gone above where they projected them. They're not where I projected them right now, but I aim for the high, and mine was top 4, but they're close. They're 5, and they could still do what I thought they'd do at the beginning of the season, which is be a top 4 Eastern team. They're right there still. I mean, in some ways, they're getting a little further away from Cleveland and closer to the play-in. But once again, I say this, a lot can happen in the last 20 games of the season and a little bit of movement. And who knows, maybe they do mess around and do way better in the last 20 games. And all of a sudden, they're in the 4th seed with home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And Lex is right with his prediction from last year. Exactly. I think either way, I'm going to be closer with my prediction than most everybody else with their prediction for the Raptors by the end of the season. And that means they're staying in 5th spot, if not going to 4th. I don't see them slipping. I know Jimmy's worried, but I'm not. I'm not worried about this. I'm really not. Stargate saying, you don't just snap your fingers and you know everything about winning just like that. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, there's a combination of different things. There's the meeting of the physicality and the change of ultra competitive NBA. There's the veteran know-how. You have a young core that has to go through the rigmarole of learning that this is what it takes to close close games against top veteran physical teams that really know what they're fucking doing. There's a learning curve. And sometimes you got to get introduced to the whole what it takes, and then you got to see it and be like, whoa, but you don't exactly execute it yet because you're still kind of trying to get the feel for it and understanding it. And then you got progress over time because, yeah, I understand it more and more. Like, this is what it takes to beat the Celtics in the last 5 minutes of game. This is what it takes to beat the Thunder. This is what it takes to beat Wemby and the Spurs. That it's a learning curve. It's a learning process. And you may not get it right after one mistake. Like some people would say, oh, well, you lost already like that. You should not lose like that again this season. Bullshit. It may take a couple times making that mistake or learning that lesson a few times for it to sink in and you get it then. So it is a process and it doesn't happen overnight. And even if people are reading into the Raptors and what they're doing right now is saying, oh, they're mid, they're never going to be better than this, you're wrong. That's, once again, I'll say that right now to anybody in Raptors Nation that thinks that this is the potential that the Raptors are hitting, their full potential right now. You're crazy. You're crazy if you think that, and your nephew in casual if you do, because it doesn't make no sense. This team has way higher aspirations and higher places that it can go. And some of it's on the broad shoulders of Scotty Barnes. Some of it's on the ingenuity and creativity of Coach Darko Rajakovic. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do. That's right. Trevor's saying, remember, he played with Steph Curry. Who, Trace? Well, just because he played with the magical Steph Curry, he's a great passer. Fiercely saying, can Darko send Grady to 905 as well? No shade, but he needs it, and that may help. There was a lot of people in the 905 chat last night talking about this. Some people were saying, why didn't he send Grady down to 905 too? Might as well do that too. I wanted to answer the question on the chat, but I didn't, so I'll answer it here. The reason why is because it's really risky. Trace, in some ways, they could have probably predicted that he could have done something like what he did last night, and it's safe. Grady did go to 905 his rookie season, and he struggled there. He didn't have a good track record when he played in Mississauga. He didn't look good. In some ways, that was the middle of the season part where we were really worried that he was a bust already halfway through his rookie year. And when he played for 905 early in that season, he did not take to it very well. He did not swim. Let's say he sunk a little bit. And he didn't have a big stat line like Trace. He didn't go off. He didn't show a separation from the talent. And in some ways, that was discouraging. It's like you can't play in the NBA. Well, go down to G League, try and play there. Oh, crap. You can't play in G League either. That's the risk. You think about it. You send Grady to G League and he fails down there too, and he does something like he does for the Raptors right now. That's not going to help. That's going to go even worse in the wrong direction. So if there's risk assessment, you kind of think, well, is this going to help Grady a whole lot if we take him down there? Probably not. He's around the team. His psyche's already kind of and it might really shake him. And if he goes down there and he has a horrible game, that's going to make it even worse, right? So I think it's a risk assessment. And they're probably saying, no, this is not a good idea. Because what if this happens and it goes really bad? And what would you think is going to go on in Grady's head at that point? So I think that's what it is right there. It's a risk assessment. They don't want to take the risk because what if it does go really wrong? It'd be great. And I'm not saying Grady would do this for sure, because he could go down there and he could have like a 35 to 40 point game and just kill the G League. And that's what I would hope would happen. But there's no guarantee that he'd get that kind of boost in his confidence from going down there and doing that, because G League is hard. And once again, the thing that I remember from G League experience for Grady was he was on a team with selfish players and people weren't giving him the ball. And that was part of the reason why he didn't look good, is because I think he was playing with Kennedy Chandler and people like that. And they wouldn't give him the ball. I think was it that? No, it was Javon then. It was Javon Freeman Liberty in that year and those guys. And the team wasn't as passing as it is this year. The 905 was a very selfish team under Eric Curry. They did not play as a team correctly. And that's when Grady went there, was when Eric Curry was the coach of the 905. And it just wasn't a conducive atmosphere for confidence building. And even him just getting to play in team play, because everybody was being selfish and just playing for themselves to try and get in the NBA. And that was what I remember when he played down there for the few games that he did. He only played for 905 like 5 games, and that was it. That was it. Stargate saying, anyways, we meet up with hang on. Let's see. It jumped ahead. Anyways, we meet the great generational player Cooper Flagg tomorrow, whose generational talent has his team with a successful 21-42 record, 21 games under 500. All right, you get a dunk for this. You deserve this one, because we went through all last year this bullshit, these years of Wemby and Cooper and the overhyping by ESPN. We get a little bit like we're like, yeah, we don't like this. This is stupid. Why y'all do this so much? And Stargate absolutely deserves to circle back and say this sarcastically and get his point across. You're at Thad Young 21, Stargate, for that one. Yeah, you deserve that one right there. That's funny. And I'm totally with you on this. It's hilarious. HC's here. The one defeated is in the house. Yeah, let's see. Rise and shine. Happy Saturday. There you go. Let's see, for a 35-27 team that wasn't expected to even make the play-in and be over 500, a team who supposedly drafted a generational talent who was expected to contend in the West. Yeah, I mean, the glazing of the Mavericks last summer is another misdirected energy that should have maybe gone towards the Raptors. That's what I'm saying. They can overhype teams and talk about them and say this and that in the summer, but the realistic outcome in the court during the season, well, you see what you get, Mavericks. Yeah. And I called that last summer too. I told everybody the Mavericks aren't going to be any good this year. And a lot of people saw Klay Thompson and Anthony Davis and Cooper Flag and Kyrie together, and they were just, oh, this is a super team. They're so good. And I was like, no, they're not. And I was exactly right. Stargate was right too. And we're here with this at this point right here. That's right. That's right. That's right. HC saying, Lex, the fantasy gods have blessed me with a lead. You had a better lead on yesterday morning, and I caught up a little bit to you last night. It's going to be a tough slog. In some ways, I got today and tomorrow, and you're already projected to beat me at this point. But you've got like a 70-point lead right now, which is not a huge lead. You got a 60-point lead, really. But you're right, man. I've got all these injuries, and I've used all my transactions for the week, so I can't add anybody at this point. I see you got Aiden Bona this morning to put on your team for today. Well, AC, man, you're the one defeated, and well, you won't be one defeated still. You got beat Lex, and you're on your way to doing it right now. But I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna give up. I got to get my lineup right for today, and hopefully, I can get really good production from people like Sengun. He's like my best player that's available right now. Alperen is like he's like my lifeline for my fantasy team right now with Steph Curry hurt and different people getting hurt all the time around my team. There's been a lot of injuries from my team in the last couple months for sure. But I'm not complaining because all of us have been dealing with them. That's for sure. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, and we are the ones who need to get it together. We need to get it together. Yeah, no, the Mavericks need to get together. That's right. Jimmy, I hope you'll comment more. I don't want you to feel like anything. I understand Jimmy has concerns and his place in his heart about it is in the right place. It's just we want to be brave. And in some ways, it's just like being on the road in a car on an icy road. I'm not looking at the ditch. I'm looking at the middle of the road because I want to stay on the road on the direction we're going. And you can obsess and worry about something negative happening, like going in the play-in, and you'll prophesize and get yourself there. So when the car is sliding on the icy road, and we know this from the season we are in right now, and the months we've just been driving around on the roads, you don't look at the ditch when you lose control of the car. You look at the middle of the road and you keep going straight and you stay on the road. Because if you look at that ditch, you'll go in the ditch. You'll go in the ditch. Oh, we know this from driving in Canada on icy roads. So let's not look at the ditch, Jimmy, and just be brave and look at that middle line and stay on the road because that's my philosophy on this. That is, yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Stargate saying, yeah, I can admit I was wrong about Con Knipple. I am too. I was totally wrong about him. We were saying stuff like he's Jeff Hornacek or something like that. I forget what we're calling him. No, he's a very good player. Very, very good player. He is a baller and impacts winning, unlike Flag. Con is inherently a better player than Flag and is way more conducive to winning. In hindsight, you think about that Duke team with Malawak and Con Knipple and Cooper Flag, and you wonder how much did Con Knipple inflate Cooper Flag's legend and made him look so good? Maybe the metrics and people were saying, no, he's the more talented guy is Cooper because of his defense and his athleticism. But in some ways, once again, these big program schools like Duke University, they have so many blue chippers on their lineups. It's like they kind of give each other bonuses, and it's kind of hard in some ways to really gauge who is who and what is what, contributing to the success of that program. And in some ways, maybe there was a way over in importance to Cooper Flag, and where they missed out on some of the importance of Con Knipple more. And this is the effect in their rookie years in the NBA. Yeah, I think that this is right. Trevor J saying if the Sixers lose tonight, Miami won last night, they'll get into sixth. So the Heat will jump out of the play-in if the Sixers lose tonight. Yeah. I mean, this is good motivation for Scotty and Emmanuel and RJ and Brandon. Just look at where these teams are nipping at your heels and where the play-in is. And, don't look at the ditch too long. But understand that danger is there and be motivated to not want to be there. I mean, that could make the competitive fire of Scott, which we've seen burning very strongly in some games recently with his trash talk, his flexing, his really motivated, very powerful, aggressive scoring at times. That, maybe Scotty will be like, yeah, I'm not trying to be in the play-in. I'm going to do everything possible for my team to stay in a proper playoff spot. He may take it in his own hands. Scotty Barnes. You know what I'm saying? HC saying next season with these guys who know each other is going to be insane. I see the light. This year has been a great, successful year for me, no matter. Exactly. Exactly. I'm with you with this. And that's the way we should be. Don't raise your expectations because we went beyond expectations for this year. No, just take the win and understand we weren't supposed to be where we are in the standings right now, according to the NBA or the publicity machine of the media around the NBA. And we have gone above and beyond. And in some ways, Raptors fans celebrate being a successful rebuilding team on the way up that has strove and had some of the biggest gains of the year, other than the San Antonio Spurs. So it's like, what's not to be upset? A negative person, a person that sees the glass as half empty, they'll probably say, "Well, we're not this though. We're not going to win the championship though. We're not going to win the championship. We'll probably lose in the first round, guys. Why are you so excited? We're mid. This kind of bullshit. What the fuck? You go ahead and be Eeyore, you motherfucker. Do you be Debbie Downer? We don't need to be that. We're enthusiastic, positive fans for our team. We love our team. We're happy with our team, and we're proud of our team for what they've accomplished this year. That's the right attitude right there. Because some people be like, "Oh, yeah, but we're mid, man. We can't beat the best teams. We suck." Right now, HC can see the light. He knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. That's right. Smooth saying he thinks that we're going to win 45 and lose 37. 45 and 37. That means winning 10 out of the last 20. That means split it right down the middle. Get 10. Now, in that case, that's above 500. And that it's very close. It may be the 6th spot. It could be the 5th spot. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all shakes out for the rest of the season. 45 wins is great. That's 15 more than we got last year. That's fantastic. Mr. Quasimodo saying the home game attendance for asked for this. They wanted the violence. It would suck to expect them to go past the first round and pay that much for tickets. They need to be cheap. Bro, this is a joke. You know what I heard? Well, we were talking about this. A Raptors Redditor the other day said that they got their prices for the playoffs as a season ticket holder, and they're 25% less, Mr. Quasimodo. So MLSE, for some reason, the playoff ticket prices for this season coming up are lowered. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. If you're talking about they need to lower the playoff ticket prices, they did. Apparently, that's what we're hearing right now. They wanted this violence. What are you talking about? What violence? We don't want no violence nowhere. In some ways, please, God, protect everybody. All the glory to God. Thank you. And I have faith that you're going to protect the innocent, the meek, the elderly, the disabled, the young, the women, the all the vulnerable people around this world from fucking crazy ass people. Seriously, please. That's what I'm saying. No violence, man. We don't need no violence anywhere. It's kind of crazy. There's a backlash in the right wing of the United States right now about the Iran war, against the war. One of the reasons why a lot of people supposedly fall for Trump's bullshit and his lies is they thought he was the peace president. They're like, no, you say you don't want to have wars. You're ending wars. You don't want to do this. Now there's a huge section of his following. They're turning on him all of a sudden because he has started a war. And there's going to be soldiers going off to war. And he's even saying in the last couple of days he wants to put ground troops on the ground. And there's going to be people dying for this. This is War Pigs. This is Black Sabbath War Pigs. Go listen to your headphones. You can hear it. And you going to send tall-ass Baron over there, Donald Trump, since you're so willing to send all these other American people's children over there to fight in a war and maybe die? This is the thing. The crazy thing is I didn't understand that on the right wing of things, that they actually have a very strong opposition to violence and war over there all of a sudden. And I'm like, this is awesome. Let's get on the same page here, Candace Owens and the MAGAs that are peace-loving hippies. It's like, no, Donald, you promised us no wars, my guy. What are you doing? No, he's fucking going back on his promises. He's lied to us. They're figuring it out because he went and started a war with Iran. And now there's a big, huge part because you got to think about it. There's a lot of MAGA people that voted for him. They're military families that have kids that are soldiers. And now he's going to put them at risk. And Johnny could be gone and coming back in a flag draped coffin because Donald Trump's playing power broker and posting Call of Duty memes about war and not really thinking about the real gravity of it. And plus they're gambling on war and making millions of dollars off of betting on it, which is absolutely disgusting and sick. So it's very interesting. This is an area where we can get with them. Seriously. People that may not see eye to eye with us as far as MAGA, they can see eye to eye on us with peace. I think that most sane people in this world don't want violence, don't want war, don't want nuclear war, don't want soldiers dying, don't want conflict. And this is the tie that binds us as civilization, as people. It's like, even if they're crazy and racist, even if they're absolutely full of shit and fucking weird ass, dumb ass people, they don't want war. They're peace loving people. They don't want to send their children to combat. So this is an area where we come and meet with them and say, we're with you and we will stand with you on this. Whether you're center, center left, center right, left, right, we can all agree nobody wants war and spending our taxpayer money to going towards killing other people. And I think this is a beautiful thing. If we can actually organically find a consensus beyond political lines drawn, where people can get on the same page and say, no, fuck you, Donald Trump, starting your own damn war and wanting to send our children to die when you're going to send your child to Ivy League school and he's just going to fucking not be anywhere, your bone spurs piece of shit. It's a very interesting development. Very, very interesting development right there, man. I'm telling you, man. Very interesting development. Stargate saying Charlotte's schedule is tough as well. We'll just have to see. They got a real gauntlet, but man, they are humming and buzzing, and they are such a good three-point shooting team. It's insane how good Charlotte is at shooting threes. And man, Con Knipple is that center point of why they shoot so well. That's right. Jane Pizza and Wings. You like Jane Pizza and Wings, 6 donuts? These are companies you want me to put on blast on Straight Goods of Canadian Goods. 6 donuts, Jane Pizza and Wings. Okay. I can put that on blast for you. Stargate saying Sixers have a bit of an easier schedule. Yeah, but they also have a big dummy, and they have a HGH head who's sitting out for the rest of the season. That's right. T-Bones, Kin Sushi. He's giving me all these different places to go eat. That's right. Reggie's saying, against any of the teams above the Raptors, there's no chance unless one of the guys get injured in New York, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland. That's not that's not what Seymour Pape would say. If you're saying there's a chance, nah, listen, all right, you're talking about in the first round, playing against these teams, we don't have a chance. No, there's always a chance, Reggie. And I don't take this defeatist energy until we see the games played. We're going to get a 7-game series against the Cavs or the Knicks. I want us to go at it in the best possible way that we can and give it our best shot. And who knows, fuck around and find out. But I'm not going to be self-defeatist and say this. Somebody already said that this year. I think it was RJ. He said this. He said, basically, I've been on teams before where we lost every single game in the regular season to a team, and then we kicked their ass in the playoffs. And that's what he said about New York. Let's just put it that way. So, and the whole factor with James Harden on the Cavs is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. There's going to be a short honeymoon. I don't see them being in a honeymoon too long. And well, we're just going to have to see how that all cracks out by the end of it. We got to remember also, we have really good matchups against Cleveland Cavaliers, and we swept them this year. We beat them every single time. Sure, they have James Harden now, but how much is that really a plus or a negative? Think about it. And if we play them very well and we've done very well against the Cavs, I think that we can beat them in a first round 7-game series, even if they have home court advantage. So, yeah, I'm not doing this, Reggie. No, you're not defeating me with words 2 months before it actually happens. Come on now. Smooth saying this also. Honestly, if the Raptors can hold on a top 6 seed and win 1 or 2 against that group and play hard, that's a W in my books. I'm not really worried about I'm not setting a standard for where they have to do to be successful. I don't care what they do for the rest of the year. This is a successful year. This is a successful year. I don't care what happens for the rest of the year. I'm going to call this year a success, partly because they just had to get past their win total from last year. In some ways, that was kind of where we could go back to the streams at the beginning of the year. And I said, what would I consider a successful year for the Raptors this year? And I think what I was saying was like playoffs, and getting way above their win total. And well, we're doing that. Right? Quasimodo's saying he's gonna fix up the chat. All right, I want to see what you do. Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Good to see you in the 905 chat last night. It's always fun to hang out with Raptor Freak family in the Raptors 905 chat. There's usually a good contingency in there, and it's always laughs and fun. Just cutting up. Isaac Campbell's hilarious with his emoticon work. And, of course, always having Monique around and talking to Monique is always fun, too. So, yeah, definitely join us. And the 9 to 5 chat, it is a party. And Trevor, I like you dropping in to see it hi also, because I know you don't normally need to watch that way. And when Trevor Jones shows up in the 905 chat, that's always fun. That's always fun. G saying, I'm manifesting they end up top 6, preferably top 4, obviously. However, if somehow they end up in the play-in, we will end up winning it and getting a top pick. My point is overall successful year. That's what I'm saying. I have a friend in Manchester, New Hampshire named Anton. And he grew up with a lot of hardships. He has some crazy stories from his past. And well, one of his mottos is that I don't believe in no win scenarios. He thinks that every single thing that happens, you can make it into a winning scenario. And it doesn't matter. Even if it's something that's outwardly everybody else would look at, that's a bad thing. No, he's looking at it from the perspective of the silver lining of what games it for him being an advantage or a good thing. It could be the most dismal thing in the world, but he knows that silver lining. And he says, I don't believe in no win scenarios. I believe in winning in every scenario, no matter what it is. It's either a blessing or a lesson, right? And that's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying right there is what it is right there. I feel successful about this year, no matter what they end up doing at the end of the year. So, in some ways, with no expectations, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised by the outcome, no matter what happens. You know what I'm saying? I don't see them getting swept. I don't see them getting swept. Name was saying, I miss the Randler. I'm a sentimental motherfucker. The Randler? The Randler? Who's the Randler? The Randler. You mean like Julius Randler? The Randler. Who was the Randler? Are you talking about an old? Oh, you're talking about Randy? Randy Urban? Don't miss him. He's on 905. You got to watch the 905 games, Nameless, and you'll hear Randy Urban's voice calling the games as the Matt Devlin for that team right now. That's why we're sharing the love for him, because he did get dismissed from MLSE for a little while there, but he's back, baby. He's back, baby. And he's throwing it over to Lindsey Dunn on the sideline. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew, from the coach, Cool Cat, an original Raptor Freak. Thank you, Cool Cat, for being here. I love you. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend and that things have just improved and gotten better for you, especially with your health. I hope that things are going really good for you and you're having a fantastic weekend. We got melt going on out here. There's a lot of mist this morning from the melting snow and the plus temperatures. I think they say it's going to be plus 16 today. 16 degrees. We're going to melt a bunch of that snow out of here today. That's right. Go on, get snow. Go on, get. You heard me. Get out of here. Stargate saying Khan is a winner. He has a team winning first mentality more than any pad my stats mentality like some others do. Yeah, he's a guy that helps other guys be better, partly because he's such a 3-point threat that there's a lot of gravity towards him. And that helps people like LaMelo and Brandon Miller get easier shots because there is a lot of respect for Con Knipple as far as like if he's getting the ball, you better watch out. He's gonna make the shot. You got to go get him, right? You got to go get him. Yeah. Brandon Miller's another building block on that team that I really think highly of. You know, Brandon Miller is a real baller, man. Real baller. He's a good player. Now, LaMelo, they could do without his Cheeto toe ass. Is driving through red lights and running into people in downtown Charlotte. Yeah, in some ways, he's not as important. He's not as important. Just a real quick aside, since y'all brought the news to me yesterday, I want to talk about the DUI arrest of Dylan Brooks this past couple days. I've seen the footage of him getting arrested, and it's not totally clear to me what's happening there. I'm wondering if they pulled him over for cannabis and not for drinking, because in that situation, I don't think Dylan's been drinking. I think that he was smoking out in his car, and they pulled him over for driving like not in the same lane. He was kind of erratic going from lane to lane, and that is a sure sign to get you pulled over. If it looks like you're intoxicated while you're driving because you're not keeping in your lane. So the cop pulled him over, and he smelled very strong cannabis in his interior of his car. And Dylan tells him in the clip, he says, I didn't smoke. I'm not smoking. He's like, okay. And he's arrested him. But Dylan does seem spacey, and he doesn't seem like he's totally in his right mind in the footage. But I don't think he's drunk. I don't think he got arrested at DUI for alcohol. I think he got arrested for possibly being on cannabis or possibly prescription drugs or something like that. I don't know. Either way, but it was a weird footage. And the cop's like, "Well, what's wrong with your hand?" He's like, "Oh, I had surgery on my hand because he's in the NBA. He's got surgery." And at least the cop was kind of respectful of not hurting his hand with the handcuffs. Yeah, but there's also a clip of Dylan in the vehicle with the police criticizing how they drive. Actually, and I'm gonna be honest because I'm very public that I have DUIs in Florida from my earlier years as a 20-year-old. That I once did that too. I got pulled over for DUI and was getting hauled to jail by the cops, and I did the same thing in the back seat. Except my criticism of the police was I laid into them saying, "You guys are misery agents. You hurt people's lives. You take their money. You find them. You do all this stuff." And it's like, why do you do this? You ruin lives. And so I was going off on them. I was saying all this stuff. And the cop was like, "You broke the law. You did something wrong. You're going to jail." And he was right. But also at the same time, I mean, I have points to what I'm saying about the whole purpose of police, especially in the South, in Tallahassee, in Florida. Sometimes they're money grab, or they're just, they're going after people and targeting people, racial profiling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Either way, Dylan Brooks, your legal problems with your DUI, I hope it gets cleared up. I don't like seeing somebody that I care about get a DUI. It sucks. It does seem like you may be guilty. Although the cop said that you blew a 0-0. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean anything. He's like, I knew you would get a 0-0. I was like, what the fuck does a 0-0 mean? That means no reading. That means he's not intoxicated. You can't blow a 0-0 and say that he failed his blow test because the fucking 0-0 is no registry, right? I don't know. I didn't get that whole part, but it was interesting to watch the DUI arrest film of Dylan Brooks yesterday. It's just weird, man. He's something wrong with him, man. Why are you doing this? Although, people that have played in the Arizona area, athletes, they have gotten DUIs around that city in Phoenix in the past. I think the police there are really good on getting on that. And I don't know what it is. Dylan, why are you upset with your life that you're like this? You had almost an all-star year. You're on the top of the world. You're playing on a winning team. You're a guy who's proven from moving around the NBA that you're a winning commodity, that you're a winner in the NBA. You add to winning for teams. Why are you sad? Why are you depressed? Is your demons getting you right now? Are you too much of a jerk outwardly and you're hurting inside and that you need help? Like, what's going on here, man? Because I care about you, bro. You're Team Canada. You're Mississauga's finest. You own the Scotiabank Arena, right? so so seriously, man, I'm pleading to you as a fellow Canadian and a fellow alcohol. Well, I don't know if you're alcoholic, but I'm an alcoholic. I'm pleading with you to get help and maybe make a change in your life because you have so much to lose, and I don't want to see you lose it to the police and getting in trouble because of problems. I'd rather see you lose it on the court to LeBron playing him or somebody else in the league than losing it to law enforcement. So Dylan, get clean, man. Get figured out, man. Whatever's ailing you emotionally underneath that's making you self-abuse yourself, stop. Stop. You have better outlets for this, and that's being a dick in the NBA on the court. You have better outlets for this. Just get that shit out on the court, doing your thing, staring at people and being crazy, villain Dylan. Please. Please do that. Please, please. Yeah, it's Quasimodo saying one of my favorite songs. I guess I must have sang a song earlier. You like it. Yeah, that's good. Smooth saying a lot of those younger people joined the military to get free healthcare and a university education. They didn't think they would be called into active conflict. It became very real very fast. Yeah. I mean, nobody really wants to go to war. I mean, we're in a civilized world where it's not necessary, right? In some ways, there's diplomacy, there's communications. War is archaic. In some ways, we should be taking the global psyche of humankind and realizing we've evolved past the idea of war. War, all it is a commodity race to enrich the fat pigs, the war pigs. And, because this is the crazy thing. There's people in Congress that have stocks and own ownership in the military contract companies. So when they declare war and they say, yeah, let's go to war, they actually enrich themselves off the deaths and dying for them to be able to go to war. And Trump just went ahead and did it. So that's an impeachable offense. And yeah, this is all interesting developments. In some ways, I like a peace and love and happiness world. And in some ways, it's funny if they tell the citizens to fight, but nobody wants to fight, then how can they be war pigs and get their thing to go, right? Because we're seeing this like what we're hearing is a lot of the soldiers are being told don't report and just say fuck you, I'm not going. There's actually people on telling people not to go and say, "No, I reject my deployment to Iran." And the other thing that's really interesting that's happening over there is they're trying to get the Kurds from Iraq to invade Iran since Iran is weakened. This is a ploy that the United States has tried to use in the past. And well, they're telling, yeah, Kurds, you got your opening. Go in there and get Iran. You're classically versus them. But the Kurds, they've been burned in the past, where they would jump over the border and they'd start helping the U.S. to fight Iran, and the U.S. would leave them high and dry, and they get slaughtered, and they would like stab them in the back and not be there for them. And so they're saying, no, we're not stupid. We're not going to help you with this war. We're not hired guns. We're not coming to do nothing. Just don't mess with us. We're not going to help you invade Iran just because the opening's there because you bombed it. We're going to stay home. And we appreciate you to just leave us alone. We're not going to come in arms. Even if we have a vendetta of hundreds of years where we would classically do this, we've evolved as a society, as the Kurds, and say, yeah, just because you open this up and just because you want us to be a pawn and your fucking thing that you're doing, we're not going to do it. And that's an amazing energy that the Kurds are like, yeah, this time we're not going to be fooled and we're not going to be a pawn. We're not going to let you do this. And if U.S. Young soldiers are saying, I'm not reporting, this is not a just war. The president isn't a king. He can't just declare a war like this. And I'm going to say this on my good conscience right now. And when time passes and they come around and say, yeah, you're impeached because you didn't fucking have the right to call this war against Iran, I'll be standing on the right side of things at that point, even if I get a court martial now. You know what I'm saying? So there's some really interesting humanity energy right now that's rejecting conflict, violence, and war because there's like, yeah, fuck you. You're going to say I'm going? Well, where's Barron going? Is Barron going? Is Barron Trump going to be over there with a gun fighting Donald Trump? No, he's like you. Bone spurs, motherfucker. Bone spurs, bitch. Yeah. 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 It's interesting, man. It's interesting. Peace, love, and happiness, baby. That's what we're talking about today. That's right. Stargate saying funny how people were saying the East is weak, but most of the teams, both the playoffs and the play-in, will be over 500 this season. In previous seasons, teams under 500 were making the East playoffs. You know, there is a misperception. There were people from the West, like Denver fans, making fun of us and saying, "Oh, the East is so weak. Oh, you guys aren't that good." But now there's more articles coming out on ESPN saying that the East is actually stronger than people are giving credit to, and I think that's right. I think that's very right. And I think that some of the signs of it are what Stargate's saying here as far as the records in the play-in. Yeah, I think that's right. I think people have just given it for granted that they think the Western Conference is just a better conference than the NBA. But I think this year the Eastern Conference has caught up with them a little bit. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. Kaz is saying Raptor Freaks take over the 905 chat. We do. We do. It's kind of funny. At the beginning of each game, usually there's like one person who comes in and says something like, "Go Vipers." And that's the last thing you hear from them. It's because Isaac and Monique and we're just dominating that chat. I dominated a lot because I'm a fast typer and I've got comments to make. And it's funny because like sometimes I'll be making a bunch of comments and nobody else is talking. And somebody that doesn't know us will come in and be like, "Who the fuck are you talking to, bro? Like, who the fuck are you? Why are you writing all this? Like, who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm talking to my friends." And the guy will be like, "Who the fuck is in here?" And then like all of a sudden, all y'all will jump in with comments, say, "Yeah, he's talking to us." It's like Isaac, Kareem, and Monique, and everybody all of a sudden chimes in. It's kind of funny, yeah, because they don't understand. They come in there and they're like, "Oh, this is." They don't understand that we're organized and that we all know each other and that we talk to each other. They're just like, "Oh, these are just random strangers." That no, we're the RFF and we know each other. And it's funny because sometimes they'll butt up with us. They'll maybe be like multiple fans of the other team. Like when we played Windy City Bulls and they had Mac McClung, they had the Mac McClung Glazers there. And there were like 3 or 4 of them. And they were kind of battling the RFF because they were just going on about how great Mac McClung is. Just on and on. And it was kind of hilarious. We beat them in that game and we were eviscerating Mac McClung by the end of the game, much to the horror of the Mac McClung fan club. He was hilarious. Isaac had some good ones in that one, man. There was some really funny jokes. You make you laugh if you watch 905 with us because there's some witty comments in there. Let's just put it that way. There's some witty comments. Trevor's saying, look out for a new open gym with Trace Jackson Davis today at noon. Oh, wow. In about an hour. Yeah, this has been the pattern. We get new open gyms on Saturdays at noon. That is the drop spot for the new open gym. And we're getting a TJD episode. How timely with the game last night. I wonder if they're so good that they got footage from the 905 game and edited in already in just that kind of turnaround. I don't know. Open gym, how good are you? Can you get footage from last night's game at 905 and put it into the brand new TJD episode you're dropping today? I don't know if they're that good. I don't know if they're that good. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see. If they are, they are. Smooth saying the Iran situation is getting more intense by the hour. Truly a scary situation. Yeah. But that energy that I was just talking about, that could be the key to everything, man. Is that people just stand up and say, you know what? We're not fighting for your stupid ass rich people anymore. We're not going to be letting y'all be the puppet masters. In some ways, we're like, I don't hate these people as much as y'all love money. I really don't. I really don't. And I think, we got to think positive. And just like with the team and the play-in situation right now, we're talking about today, let's talk about the world and the world situation with World War III and kind of trying to avoid that too, right? Right. Let's see. James Harden notoriously chokes in the playoffs. Yeah. Yeah. And water's wet. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Brooks may be depressed because he can't do what he loves, balling. When people can't function due to illness or injuries, it can be tough to swallow, hence why they need support during rehab. Is Dylan out right now? Is he hurt and he's not playing right now? This is a recent thing that just happened recently, right? Maybe he's upset about it because I think him and Booker are out, right? Both of them. And the Suns have taken a little tumble in the standings. Yeah, they're not up in the top 4 anymore, and they're closer to they're in the play-in at this point, I think. So maybe that is it. That's good speculation, Fiercey, MJ. That's pretty good speculation. I think you're about right. This is kind of good if they're hurt because we're going to play the Suns both games coming up very soon. We're going to get the Suns 2 games in a row, like within a week, in the next 2 weeks. So if their best players are hurt and Devin and Dylan, that's not a bad thing to catch them at that time. We'll have to see. And they're considered one of the playing teams that we're playing coming up. That's right. Yeah. Kaz is saying Booker is back, Lex. I have him for fantasy, I think, for about a week. Okay, so Devin Booker is back. Okay. That's good information. All right, we're coming up on 2 hours. Let me go ahead and do my rundown and see if I missed any of my tabs. Of course, we got birthdays to do for a second here. I'm not doing the Instagram stories anymore. I've decided to kill that segment. This is just stupid, man. I in some ways, it's like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth setting it up and doing everything. All right, guys, happy birthday today to former Raptors assistant coach Patrick Mutombo. It is Patrick Mutombo's birthday today. He's 46 years old. Of course, the native of Zaire. That's where he was born. He is currently now, because, Mutombo was on our team and with the Raptors 905 in 2020. He's been gone that long. He actually was the coach of the 905 in 2022. And then he left. And he went to the Suns, and he was an assistant there. And then he went to the Milwaukee Bucks last year, or was an assistant there 2 years ago. And now he's an assistant coach on the Memphis Grizzlies. So happy birthday to former Raptors and Raptors 905 coach Patrick Mutombo, 46 years old as of today. All right, let's do that classic card, and let's wrap it up. And we'll give a little bit more love to Randy Urban, and we'll get out of here. So Dylan got a broken hand. That's why he's out. And that's why when they arrested him, they had to watch out when they put the handcuffs on. That's right. That's what it is right there. All right. This is a cool classic card. This is a card that's pretty well known because the set is very famous and it has a lot of sales. So this card may be very easy to figure out. This guy's son is a coach in the G League. So here you go. Classic card of the day. It's a Spur and it's an NBA Hoops card, which we know the first 2 sets of NBA Hoops were very, very popular. People bought them right there. Michael Finley. That's not right, Kaz. That is not right. This player, as I said, his son is a current G League coach in the G League. I forget which team he coaches, but he is a coach in the G League. Now, that's not Michael Finley of the Dallas Mavericks. No, that is not Finley. This is Brooks is on your fantasy lineup. He's hurt. Yeah, that maybe I don't either way. If he's sad, he's lashing out, he needs to get help. He needs to talk to his friend DeMar DeRozan and see. Well, actually, he's not his friend because he talked trash to him. Maybe Dylan, why are you lashing out at DeMar? He could help you. Seriously, he's saying that garbage about DeMar DeRozan recently. DeMar DeRozan in his mental health challenges, he could actually help you, my guy. Seriously, it's like DZ knows. That's right. That's Paul Pressey. Paul Presley, but that's fine. You put the L in there. That's fine. That's close enough. Paul Pressey, who has the perfect name for full court of press. Paul Pressey. He's the full court pressing. But yeah, look at that. All those years in Milwaukee and all those double digit scoring years. Yeah. Paul Pressey. Pressey. And that's about a 200-point card. Seriously, that's a tough one right there because he was born on Christmas Eve. Yeah, December 24th. How'd you know that, Isaac? You saw the card on the screen. All right, let's see. 200 points for Slug Deasy on the Paul Pressey card today. And this is you know what this is a special hoops card because this is an add-on card. They came out with the regular set, but then guys got traded and they gave the supplemental set. So this is like a later card in it when Paul Pressey went to the Spurs. So he had two cards in this set. He had a Milwaukee card earlier, and then they came out when the moves happened in the offseason. They went ahead and added a supplemental addition to the set. That's what that is. 200 points for Slug Deasy, the king of the classic card. Yeah. Yeah. I showed you this card. I showed you the card. Yeah, on the screen. That's how you knew because it says it right there, December 24th. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Wayne's here right when I'm going to finish. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Been missing due to being ill. I don't like hearing that. Still watching, but not much energy to combat the Cloud GMs. Raptors will fight through their shortcomings. There you go. Wayne Strainer's got good words of encouragement and strength. And Wayne, we don't like to hear that you haven't been feeling well. I wish you a very, very healthy microorganisms in your body and all kinds of energy and Reiki and different things coming to you through the screen to help heal you even more. And same for Cool Cat too. And everybody else that's had any kind of health issues recently. I wish you all the best. Yeah. And everybody who's taking time off for Lent, please come back. We miss you guys. We miss you, Seymour, Infamous, and KT. So please come back. It's fun. It's more fun with you guys around. You guys are hilarious. So yeah. All right, let's do the rundown real quick. Raptors 905 games are once again called by Randy Urban. And I'm very happy about that. Randy Urban, you're an urban legend or a Raptor legend. In some ways, a broadcasting Raptor legend, a broadcasting cult classic favorite. There's a lot of us that like you, Randy, and we miss Raptors tonight. And I hope that you hear this from people more and more, that it was a fun show and the Raptors Nation loved it. And we hate that it's gone in some ways. We want it back. And so realize that. And I'm just so happy you're back with MLSC calling Raptors 905 games right now. It's just nice to hear. Randy, you're a good dude. You're a humble dude. And you were helpful to me and very kind to me when I met you in person. And maybe you do remember me. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I don't care. Either way. Lex is going to do what Lex does on this channel, regardless if people know who he is or don't know who he is. I don't care. I'm just doing what I do. But yeah, Randy, we love you. Raptors Freaks love you, my guy. And keep doing what you do. Oh, Randolph's checking in too. He's on his way out. I'm leaving, man. It's 2 hours. Randolph saying, weekend blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks. Ride out your storm. God's right there with you. You may not know it, but you're not alone. I love that. That's a great words of wisdom. Blessing to Phil's family, all the Raptor Freak families. And Randolph saying, Lex, Trace makes you wonder why he's not getting more playing time, especially when we need help on the basket. I talked about that in the show already. You can come back and watch it from earlier. I went over Trace very heavily on this episode. So please watch me back. And I tell everybody, if you do watch me when I'm not live, 1.5 speed's the best speed to watch me. I talk like Micro Machines Man, but it goes by faster. The 2 hours become 90 minutes. And you'll hear it and digest everything I'm saying at a faster speed still. So yeah, I covered this. I gave my reasoning for why Trace is not playing on the Raptors and why he played the game last night. That's all earlier in the earlier 2 hours. So yeah, you can check that out later. Isaac saying dunk at Kareem for taking a break from social media right before a war. W, human rights and pacifism. That's hilarious, man. That's pretty funny. Isaac, I'm giving you a dunk too for that. That was creative. And in some ways, it just is the co-dunk champions getting a dunk at the end of the stream just makes sense here. So Kareem's going to 45 bus. He's with Delano, riding around with him. And Isaac, you are actually ahead of him with a 51 at this point. I think, Isaac, you're actually the dunk leader right now with 51 dunks, man. Yeah, get well soon, Wayne. And we say that also to Cool Cat and anybody else who's got anything right now. Yeah, my bruises are healing up from slipping on the ice the other day. Oh, man, that sucked. All right, yeah. So Randy Urban, we love you, man. My stars of the game for the 905 win against Grand Rapids, not Grand Rapids, Rio Grande Valley Vipers. Trace Jackson Davis, who got the chain, is my number 1 star. Tyson Degenhart, number 2. Tyreek Key, number 3. Tyree Samuel, number 4. And Caleb Stone Carawell, Stone Cold Carawell, was my 5th star. And that's the end of the stream, guys. I'll be back tomorrow to preview the Dallas Mavericks game and also a game against the Delaware Bluecoats that the Raptors 905 have at 2 o'clock. So we have a double W possibility tomorrow with a 2 o'clock game for the 905 and a 6 o'clock game for the Raptors at Scotiabank Arena against Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for that. Thank you for watching the Raptor Freak stream. If you get enjoyment from the stream because of the basketball talk or the life talk, or the politics or whatever it is, I appreciate your subscription. I appreciate your time spent with me. And I just wish blessings on everybody. Once again, we want a better world for everyone, not just a select small few. And in some ways, well, we're going to have to push back and we're going to have to resist. And we're going to have to do certain things like not go to war because we personally object and we go AWOL. Whatever you have to do what's right for the whole world. And let's go towards peace, love, and understand, because we're more civilized than to go get in a convoluted war just for capitalists and people to make money off of the deaths of young people. So yeah, we can do something about this. That's right. Watch the 905 games and W's in the chat. There you go. That's right. 905, don't miss out. Come hang out with the RFF on the YouTube watching the 905 games. It's fun. It's fun. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's go, Randy Urban. Let's go, Raptor Freaks. Let's go, Toronto Tempo. Let's go, Raptors 905. Let's go, Darko. Let's go, Masai. Never, ever forget Masai. We love you, Masai. Forever, Masai. Let's go, Bobby Webster. Let's go, Scotty and the crew. Notorious BI3 and the barbecue yak. Let's go, Raptors.